All right. So live, and in this video, we are going to see how to post data. We're gonna learn how to post some data to our database. We're gonna do a simple one, simple post should work, and then we'll try to build on it. Do some other things later. Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So I'm back over here in the land of Visual Studio Code, and so far, we have all of our GET requests, okay, that allow us to uh, get data from database like so. Okay, so we can do that, and we used Postman, and we've already set up our collection in Postman so that we now have GET requests for labels. So if you have not done that yet, so for album, artist, band, and label, you can go ahead and do that by using all of the different routes that you have inside of your API. So in other words, we have a route to get all the albums. We have a route to get all the our albums by artist ID. We have our sort route, and we have our find, our single route. So it gets a single item. Okay, so we have all of that. That's good. Cool. Or if you don't have it, don't watch this video. Stop it right now. Go ahead and finish that up for all of the 4 endpoints and then come back to this video. Okay. Because in this video, we're going to, and what we're going to do, we're going to start off by posting, um, we'll start by posting in the artist table. So what I want to do is I will want to add a new artist to my database. So right now, if I go to localhost 3000 slash API slash artist, I have 6 different artists in my database. And so what I want to do is I want to start to add uh, more artists into a database. Okay. So let's get started with that. The first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to write the um, write the method for this, and this method is going to be a generic one. Okay, so that is going to happen inside of my DAO common uh, folder, my DAO, excuse me, my DAO common file. And so in our DAO common, we already have our find all, which we have cleaned up. We've done some stuff to it. We have our find by ID. I'll go ahead and just remove that, just shorten that up. Oh, you look so good. And we have sort. Okay, so the next method that we write, I'm going to put it below sort. This is going to be our create method. So you just say create. And this create method, the arguments that is going to take, it's going to need 3 of them. It's going to take the request that is from the HTTP request. It's going to take the response, and it's going to take the table as its argument. Okay. So, to start off, what we'll do is we'll just get, um, we'll start off by consoling, we'll say console.log the request. We're going to try to break this down as best as we can. All right. So I'm going to start off by console the request. And that's all we're going to have for right now, because we're going to happening and how we can get this stuff, and where is it coming from. All right. So there's create request response DAO.table like so. All right. And then what we're going to do is we are going to go to we're going to start off with the artist. So let's go to the artist routes. And since we've already imported DAO common into the DAO.js, and then from there we imported the DAO into artist DAO. If I hover over artist DAO, I should have a create method. There it is. You can see it right here. There's our create method right there. Cool. And let's add one more thing to artist DAO, because I don't want that. I mean, to DAO common, I don't want it to just, let's say, console.log request. Let's also response.send, we'll say complete, just so we can end this right here. So, and that way we won't have that lagging going on in the background, because we'd be like, okay, what do you want me to do now? So we're just going to response.send complete, and we're going to console.log the request. All right. So cool. Now we got that. Let's go back to artist routes. Let me delete a lot of this stuff because it's just kind of in the way right now. And I don't want you in the way currently. You can get in the way later. All right. So go back over here to artist routes. Now, if we're here in artist routes, notice that we have our get requests sitting up here at the top, and our post requests are going to go below our get requests. Okay. And so that is how you definitely want to set up your structure. Okay. So that you don't run into any issues or whatever, because code is still being read from top to bottom. All right. And so the best way to organize it is to put all of your get requests at the top. The last get request should be the single by ID, define the by ID. Okay. And then after that, we'll put our post request. So I'm going to say router.post. Okay. So we're going to say router.post, just like the get is going to take a path, and we'll just say post, and we'll just call this create. So in other words, http://localhost:3000/API/artist/create. All right. It's going to take that as the path. And just like the other ones, takes a request and a response as an argument. And then we're going to say DAO.create. We pass in the request, pass in the response. And we're going to pass in DAO.table. This is just a start. All right. And now we got that, let's go to Postman. Well, let's let's do this here in REST client. So REST client. So we use our dot request here. No, I think I do want to do it in Postman. Okay, I do want to do it in Postman. Okay, so I know for my artist, you know what? I can do it here. I'll just do it here for right now to start it off. So here my app requests. I'm going to do my post. So again, I'm going to say 3 hashtags right there. I'm going to say post, then http:// localhost colon 3000 slash API slash artist slash create. Okay. And then underneath this, I need to add something here. I'm going to say content dash type. And then I'm going to say application slash JSON. And then I'm going to do a request body. Okay. So for the artist, we have only thing we need to add is a first name and last name, and the rest should auto populate. So I'll say F name. Let's see, double quotes. F name Michael. How do I have this? All lowercase. I do. Okay, stay like that. Michael, and then L name Jackson. So here you see we have post because we're posting this to localhost 3000 slash API slash artist slash create. Content type, application JSON, and then right below we put our body of the request, which is this object, and we write it in JSON. So make sure you have double quotes around everything. Let's see what happens. I'm going to click send request. Header name must be a valid HTTP token, and I thought that it is. Maybe, let me check my other notes. Because I want to say that is correct. What am I missing? Content type. I don't see what's wrong with that. Content type, application slash JSON, yeah. And then the body. Why don't you want to work? Header name must be a valid HTTP token. I don't know what I did right here. Let me see. Let me check in my post slash create. I don't know. Let we'll try it in Postman. If that doesn't work, we'll try it in Postman. See what happens here. All right, so go to Postman. Exactly. I don't know missing there, but we'll get it right. I don't know you. Okay, so let's go. Let's go here to artist. In my artist folder, I'm going to add a new folder. So add folder here in artist, and again, I'm in Postman. And the name of this folder is going to be post. Okay. And then I'm going to add a request here. This is going to be a little different than in our get request. So here we're going to post. All right. So I got a new request here, and I'm going to name this one post artist. Okay. So post artist. I'm going to change my request from get to post. And do that. Here I'm going to slash artist slash create. Okay. And so now we need to set up our headers. Okay. So I'm going to come over here and I click headers, and they're hidden. Let me see. Make sure all these are straight. I think these are good. I don't think I need to say content type. I click on body, and on the body, I'm changing this to raw. So I want this to be raw in JSON, like so. Okay. And so here I put the body of my request and make sure everything else is okay. Um, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Headers is cool. I think I can add content type. I think if I say content type, I'm gonna do that just for your content type application JSON. Oh, wait, did I? Let me check my, this is straight. Okay, once you get content type application JSON, let me go to my server.js and make sure I added that. No, I do have it, server.use. Yeah, so one thing you need to do, you need to make sure that you're saying, hey, server.use express.json. Make sure you're using this and then this express.url encoded extended true. So you should already have that because we added that to our project. And that's simply just saying, hey, use JSON. Okay. So that should be good. I set the content type application JSON. I'm gonna leave all the other headers the same. Now let's go back over to the body. And in the body, I'm gonna make this object. Let me bring this down so you can see. Okay, and again, this is JSON. So I'm gonna say F name, Michael, and then L name, Jackson, like so. This should work. Okay, so there's the body of your request. Okay, right now all we're doing is saying, hey, console the request. That's it. All right, server still running. I click send, and there it is. I got a 200. Okay, so I'm good. Got 200, and there it is in the console. It reads complete. So we're getting somewhere. Okay, good. Had me worried. And if I look over here in the console, guess what? Here is the project. All of this stuff, incredibly long. Yes, I know, but has all of that stuff in there. And somewhere, oh, here we go, right here, the request body. And so this is what we want right here. We want that request body. That's what we need to post to our database. All the other stuff is information that we can use elsewhere, maybe for some troubleshooting, or maybe we need that to authenticate or authorize that something that our data does get posted. Okay, but what is actually going to go into the database is this request.body, that object there. Okay, so yeah, let's go back to our code. I just wanted you to see again where we start with this. So we got the request. Now what do we do? Well, the first thing I want to do is comment this stuff out because I don't need that in create anymore. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that first of all that there is a request.body. Okay. And if there is, then we'll do something. But if not, we'll send a message saying, hey, there's nothing in here. Okay. Say if capital O dot keys of request dot body. So we're looking at the body in particular. Dot length is equal to 0. So in other words, right here, we're saying, hey, if the request.body object, this thing here, if the length of the keys is equal to 0, or in other words, there are no keys like first name or last name. So if the because object.keys is going to return an array of the properties or keys. Let me make a comment of that right here. Object.keys, and then pass in, an object that returns an array of the keys. All right. But I'm saying, hey, if that's equal to 0, or in other words, there's nothing in there, then what we're going to do is we're going to response.json, and then we're going to send, error true, and then we're going to say the message is going to be no fields to create. So in other words, if there is no if request.body doesn't have any properties in there, so length of object.keys request.body would be 0, then we would send this error message right here as a response. All right. So then what we'll do is say, hey, else. So in other words, there is body and keys. Okay. I mean, there is there are keys in the body. Then what are we going to do? I'm going to say const fields is going to get object.keys request.body. So we're going to take those we're going to take the keys, the properties, and store them in an array called fields. And then we're also going to take the values. Oh, I'm sorry, this should be object.values. So object.values and request.body. So we're going to take the values from the request.body object and store it in an array called values. So in other words, we'll have one array where the fields or the items in the array will be first name or F name and L name. And then we will have another array called values where the first item will be Michael and the second will be Jackson. Okay, cool. And then what will we do after that? I'm still inside of this else code block. Okay, so else, what are we going to do? Here I'm going to say con.execute. And I know a couple of videos ago we talked about con.execute and how that's different from con.query. Whereas con.query, you can run a query just fine. Con.execute does the same thing, but it just adds a little more to it, because what we can do is we can pass in not only the query and the callback function, but we can also pass in an array, and we're going to see how that's used here. So con.execute, and we're going to write this SQL query right here. We're going to say insert into, going to pass in table like so. And this is going to look a little different from the SQL that we've been writing, but don't worry about it, it's going to be okay. We're going to say set, and I'm going to say $ curly brace. And this is going to be a little difficult, so please follow along with me. And, if you're watching the video, you're not, on live, pause the video, check the syntax and where I place everything, because this is kind of confusing. I still don't have this down by memory. We're going to say set, and inside of my $ curly brace, I'm going to say fields dot join, open parentheses, single quote, space, equal sign, space, question mark, comma, space, close single quote. that's inside of the curly brace. And then outside the curly brace, I'm going to put an equal sign and question mark and a semicolon. What is happening here? What is this weirdness? Uh this weirdness we're using is the join method. And the join method works on arrays or strings. And what it does is it will add or join some argument, whatever is inside the parentheses, to the end of an item in the array or a character in a string. So what's going to happen here, this is saying insert into table, which is artist, insert into artist, set fields.join is going to take the first item, F name, equals to question mark, which is going to be Jackson. And then it's going to take the second item, L name, equals Jackson. And it's going to do that for every key that you have in your in the fields array. So it's going to take each one of those and pair it up with the values. Okay, so there's our query right there. And now we're going to add the array values. So I'm going to place values right there like so, put a comma. And so this is saying, hey, what array am I going to use to do this? And so wherever there's a question mark that you see here, that will be used. Well, it will use the items in values to kind of answer that question. I know it's weird. I've done this several times. I still don't quite understand the how and why, like the breakdown of it, why it does it that way. I don't know, but it does. And I can tell you that much. Okay. And so now that we're doing that, now we're going to run our callback function. So take the error and we're going to take the DB response and we're going to say, hey, if there's no error, then if there's no error, then just let's see, what do I want it to do? I don't want it to post just yet. Oh well, it should be posting now anyways, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So if there's no error response, then what we'll do is we will response.json and we'll say last underscore ID. It's going to be DB response dot insert ID. And we'll say else. So if there's an error, console.log. And we'll say table. So whatever the table is, thou error. Close that backtick. And then whatever the error is. And so this should work. Okay. So again, we're saying, hey, match up the property. Well, so we're taking the request.body. Okay, we get that. And then we'll take the properties in the request.body object, put them over here with fields. And then we're going to take the values in the request.body object, stored over here in values. So we've taken that object, splitting it up, parsing through it, And then in our query, we put it back together. So that's what's happening. Taking it apart, putting it back together inside of this query here, this string. And then we're going to take it and post it in a database. Okay. So let's see if this works. Let's go back to Postman. We can use the same let's change this body to JSON down here. I'll make this JSON here as well instead of HTML. So here I have my object, my request body. First name is Michael, last name is Jackson. And I'm going to hit send. Oh, I got a 500 error. And what is my error? Let me see. Scroll down here. Object.create, blah, blah. Down comment. Oh, con is not defined. Okay, so cool. So that means I need to go to my DAO common because I didn't, in my DAO common, that's right, I didn't use con, I used connect. That's right. So let's change that to connect. I forgot about that. Okay, my server's back running. Cool. Let me minimize this. Come over here and click send. And there I get last ID 7200. Okay. So then that means that I successfully added Michael Jackson to my database. Okay. We can find out by coming back over to artist, and I can click on, I can say get artist by ID. So here, this is the artist by ID. If I change that to 7 and I hit send, and there's Michael Jackson, and you can see it has today's date was added plus the ID of the artist as well. So that was a successful post. Let me save that. That works. Whew. Didn't work on the very first try, but it did work. Okay, so a couple things. If you didn't get it to work, if yours isn't working, let's cover a couple bases first. All right. Inside of Postman, your headers, make sure you add content type application JSON. Application/JSON. Make sure that is your content type. Okay. As far as your params and all this stuff, don't worry about that. Now you could add authorization layer saying, hey, only this particular ID can make these kind of posts. Like say, for example, you want to say, hey, you can only make this post if you were, particular individual, like you want to give those rights to, a certain person, a data entry person, or what have you. You can do that, but you want to make sure again that your headers, content type, application JSON, since that's what we're working with, you need to make sure that it's JSON, because you could use some other kind of content type, again, like XML or something else, where you're going to use JSON. Okay. Also, you want to make sure the body, make sure that it is raw and set this to JSON. Okay. Not text, not JavaScript, HTML, XML, set that to JSON. Okay. And again, the body, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Set it to raw. And enter your data like so. And if you get an error or some sort, check your console, see what the error reads, and see if you can try to solve it. Okay. But now what this means is now that I have a I built it out in my API, so I have a route for this, a post route, then I don't have to go in to my .sql file and just add all those different artists. I can do it right here inside of Postman. So if I want to add another artist, let's see, I don't have Joe Henderson in here. I can do that, hit send, and it works just fine. Okay, cool. And let me add 2 more so I can make it 10. Oh. And I add 1 more. All right, cool. So now I've added more artists to my database. If I just want to come over here and just check again, just to be sure, I can, open up my SQL Server. And there I can see that there I've added the artists to my database. Cool. Posting is difficult for me. I'm not going to even lie to you. Because there are just some things that, I have like a mental block with. But we got it working. Okay. So cool. So now you should have something that's working where you can start posting artists, adding them to your database. And if I want to do the same thing for the band, guess what? Since it's in my DAO common, I can go to band routes down here at the bottom, say router dot post, make the /create, take the request and the response, DAO.create, take the request, take the response, and DAO.table. Now I'm ready to add some bands to my database as well. So there you go. There's that's a simple post. Now we're going to need to do a little something different for the album, so we can look into that and see how we go about doing that, because we'll need to say, hey, there's a band ID or artist ID, and how do we get that information in there? Because yeah, that could be a little difficult. Anyways, there's how we do it. A simple post again. If you like this video, hit the little heart thing or whatever, or thumbs up, whatever it is. Comment, share. I appreciate those who are sharing these videos. That's really cool. And I hope they're useful for the people who are watching them. Me and my quirks. Okay. And I will catch you on the other side of this video.